All right, Phoenix and Tucson, Arizona. We are live with Kristen Borst right here. You can see her beautiful face. She's in front of her Christmas tree. And I am in front of mine at my parents' house in Ohio. And yes, it is cold here. There, I think, is probably about 2 feet of snow, which is incredible. And as you can see, this is my lovely running shirt. And my husband and I are going to brave the elements and go out for a run and basically run on the street where everything has been de-iced due to salt and whatnot. But before the epic run begins, we're stoked to have Kristen here today for our legacy live stream. And guys, you know that Kristen is one of our legends. She's raised over $50,000 with her time with Team World Vision, with which Kristen, you know, $50,000 means how many kids with Water for Life?
Is that 1,000?
That would be 1,000. Ding, ding, ding. You win. So, yeah. Anyway,
Don't
guys,
put me on the spot for a lot of math, okay?
Yeah, gotcha. So guys, this is it. This is our 10-20 miler week, and I was really excited that Kristen agreed to share this week, because sometimes we either feel amped up and ready for this run and we feel like we're crushing our fundraising, you know, and Christmas is coming and there's a lot happening. So we could either be feeling really good about ourselves going into the holiday and going into the race, or we might be like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? And I'm so behind, and when am I going to get my miles in? And Kristen's done it. She's crushed her fundraising. She's crushed her miles. She's got experience to share with us. So, of course, we're always going to start with the water piece first, and then the logistical fundraising piece. You guys might know KB actually doesn't like to run. So my question I told her right before we started was, even though you don't like running, what about water has kept you running for these kids? So Kristen, what do you think? What about water has kept you running for these kids, especially at a busy time of the year like this?
Well, you're right in that I hate running. I actually hate it. And people who know me, I've done 3 half marathons, and actually just did my first full marathon. I still don't consider myself a runner. I call myself a 1 foot in fronter. And that's literally it. But I think as far as water goes, I feel like just because I was a female born in the United States, it afforded me privileges that women and girls in other countries don't get to have. And I felt very much like I take that for granted. But then I realized I was in a situation where I actually could do something, and I could help make a difference in the lives of others. So we know that the Walk for Water is the #1 source of human trafficking on the planet, not only for girls, but for boys who will be abducted to be potentially boy soldiers. And again, if we can solve this problem, that's one piece of this puzzle, and getting kids into school, getting them educated. And so I feel like here in the United States, we have the capacity and the ability to be able to do it. I just have to basically get people to pledge me in order to be able to run and fund my run. And we can make a difference.
Yeah. So with that, I mean, like you said, we really are afforded unbelievable blessings that we don't even realize as being Americans. And I think we were just talking about, you know, this election season has been crazy. This year has been crazy. There's just a lot of divisiveness, it seems like, in the world and in our country. And I was actually blown away when I ran New York that people thanked me for letting them do something good in the midst of a really stressful period of time. And being, I mean, that you've just crushed your fundraising over these last few years. We basically have 3 weeks to go. What are your suggestions to our team? Tangible, small things that we can do during the holiday season and coming out of it first of the year that you think will help them, you know, actually hit their fundraising goals, and most importantly, provide these kids water and these women water and relieve their suffering?
Yeah, so one of the first things I think is, one, realize that we're actually at a unique position because our race is in January. There's a lot of people who are in a very giving spirit at this time of year. I know people are a little bit worried that, oh, you know, they're shopping, they're buying all these things, but I also think people are in a really generous spirit. So the first thing that I think people should do is just make a plan. It's just like the same as your training plan, but you've got to write down lists of people that you know who are in your circles. I go to Jazzercise. My Jazzercise Center has sponsored me every year, $100 each year. So it's $300. I reach out to almost everybody that I know. So again, make a list of all those people that you do know. And I would say one of the biggest things that I think is really important is a personal ask. So you don't just send a blanket email communication as an example. You might do a direct message to somebody. It could be on Facebook. It could be through email. I've also found including pictures, if you have any pictures of you in any of your training runs, or any of those things, to really kind of help bring kind of your story to light, and make sure that you make it personalized. It's really specific to that person, your relationship with them, and then also why this cause is weighing on your heart, and letting them be a part of that journey so that they can be a part of this process. And they want to know that they're able to be invited in for the opportunity to say yes. I know many of us are a little bit nervous about asking people for donations because we're afraid of rejection. But I think we need to think about it as giving people the opportunity to say yes and to be a part of something great. And so I really encourage people to write down all of your people, all of your connections, have a personal ask. I also think being persistent is one of the things that I've really leveraged a lot. I've worked on one donor for over 2 years, and it wound up paying off big time. So I think being very persistent, I think you obviously need to be mindful about not obviously pestering somebody multiple times in a day. But I've also had some friends who I sent out some emails to. They didn't respond, but they were my people. They were I'm like, why haven't they done anything? And so I sent them a text. And each of them, they were different people. They got me to a new goal. And I was worried that if people came to my page and they saw that I met my goal, that they weren't going to donate. And so I kept upping my goal my first year, because the problem doesn't end when we meet our goal. There are always more kids, until this global water crisis is over. There are more kids that need access to clean water. And so really kind of the persistence piece, and knowing that, that's really, it will help you if you are persistent, and always thank everybody who donates to you. Because if you are doing this multiple times, you're going to be dipping back into that same well. So I think being persistent. I also think you can be creative. Our kids, we did a garage sale. We made $400. So each of them got $200 to their pages. There's lots of different ways to actually fundraise, but I think the biggest thing is have a plan. And do things that are comfortable for you. If it feels more comfortable that you go out with coffee with a friend and talk with them and ask them, that's great. If it feels better to do a personalized email, that's fine. A text. But I think you need to start with a plan and then take it piece by piece, and then be mindful of being able to be persistent right before the race. It's always easier to raise money prior to the race versus after the race.
So personal and persistent. I like those a lot. And I like what you're saying too about your persistency, or your persistence isn't about nagging people, but just almost checking in with people. And I think I've heard you say like third time's a charm. Like you can do it 3 times, and that is not being pushy. It's just being persistent. Is that you're a 3-time person, right?
I am. You can do the original message plus 3 reminders is my kind of piece. And so it's great now that we're here. We still have time. We have several weeks before our race. So you have opportunity to send out an initial email. You can do several follow-up emails to them, or text, however it is that you want to do it. But it gives you the time and space to do the initial ask. But again, people are busy. Emails drop to the bottom and they're like, oh yes, I totally want to give to Lindsay, for example, but then they just forget. So then you remind them again, like, oh, thank God she reminded me. Now I'm going to go in and do this.
Yeah, and I've found that that's big. If you start with an email, and even if it's the large blanketed email, just to kind of break the ice. But like you said, following up with a personal email. But then even moreover, I've found a lot of success with individual messages through Facebook, inbox messages with the link, or an individual text with the link, because people can click on those links and enter them in right away, and it's really quick. which makes it a lot easier. So those are tips that I think I have. The other thing with Christmas is we're going to be seeing a lot of friends and family that we don't always see. So when people are asking you how you're doing and what are you up to, guys, tell them the truth. The day before Christmas, you're going to be running 10 or 20 miles. You are going to be seeing people and they're going to want to know, why are you walking like that? Or why are you drinking so much water? Let them know what you're doing so that they are able to participate. And as Kristen's always told me, don't just tell them you're running, tell them why you're running, and really text them that link so that they know. Also, I've had friends and family at Christmas time, we do different exchanges, and I've asked people, hey, what does so-and-so want? Or do you know? And they say, hey, they've got enough stuff. They don't want stuff. So actually the last couple of years, I've started giving water in their name, and it's been incredible. They've really appreciated it. They don't want more things, but this is giving, a way to give at Christmas time that really matters. It's larger than us. It's more than consumerism. And I think we can get really wrapped up into that. And this is a great way to participate on a larger level. So persistence, being personal, following up. Yeah. Anything else you want to close off with?
I would say prayer. I think prayer is an important part every single year. I pray and God gives me a number and that's my number that I go after, and it's scary sometimes. But I think again, the first year that I did this, it really started about me. Mm-hmm. And then I realized it was not about me. It was about God working through me. And it was about others. And I think it's an important piece that's helped me get over some of my fears about actually completing a race and actually asking people and doing that. So I think prayer is important to open your heart and to hear what God is telling you, and not just to let your fears take over.
Awesome. Well, Kristen, thank you. I mean, it's December 20th and you're taking time out of your busy life to be with us and to be with the team, and blessings on your big 10-miler this weekend.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any actual quick tips about the 10 or 20 miler? I know too, before my 10 or before my 20, before New York, I actually did a little video and posted it on Facebook with my link. And then I did an update halfway through with my link and got a few donations that way. But from sleep to hydration to food to donations, any 10, 20 miler tips that you want to leave us with?
I think if it's your first time that you're ever doing a half marathon or a full marathon, I think it's great to tell people this is the furthest I've ever run, and this is why I'm doing this. It's a great pivotal point of your training schedule. It's nerve-wracking for me anytime I do a long run. So make sure that you are staying hydrated, even most of us who are still here in the desert. So staying hydrated, get to your group runs too. I mean, it's really important to be in community with other people who are running for the exact same cause. So make sure we're going to be at all of our group runs this weekend as well. We've got a lot of people who are still going to be in town. But again, I think you can make it a great point. And as you mentioned, if you're going to be at holiday parties, let people know that, yeah, I'm doing this shuffle because I am sore. Also make sure that you're packing nutrition. So if you've got goos, if you've got, I like the stingers, but make sure you're hydrating, eating, and then also nutrition prior to your run. And then post, make sure you're stretching. And we've got some cold pools around here. So even after the long run, you could go in a cold pool. It'll be great for your muscles and for your joints. And then get some stretching in and celebrate. I mean, you've come a long way, and it's really important to realize. I know for me, when I first started, and just even going up the block, I was like, are you kidding me? I was like huffing and puffing. But really celebrate how far you've come, because you've come a long way, and it's hard. You've been putting in a lot of miles, and you're probably tired and fatigued right now. You're like, when is this going to be over? And it's coming. After this weekend, we're going to be on taper. And then we're going to come together on the race, and, we're going to all be doing this for this cause, for clean water, which is really the beginning, for so many people.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much, Kristen. It's awesome always to hear from you and see your face. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. And team, love you guys, praying for you guys. As Kristen said, really pray about this. Keep these kids right in the front of your minds, and keep your donors and your family and your friends in the front of your minds. This is a season that we really celebrate God, Emmanuel, coming into our world to make it a better place, to bring a peace that passes all understanding. And I don't know if Christmas is a great time for you and one that is just celebratory and loving, or a really hard time. But no matter where you are in this period of time, know that we are thinking about you. We are praying for you and praying about what God's doing in and through you in this time. So love you guys. Run hard, ask big, be bold, because your lives really do matter. So love you guys. Merry Christmas. And we'll see you on the other side of your 10/20. Take care.